Hello, Palle. I have read your text 4, and these are my comments. I'm going to be talking about how you can edit your text to make it even better. There are 3 phases when we write. The first is the conceptualization and the first draft of the text. Then there's an editing phase where you tweak your language and your structure and you make sure that you come across the way that you want to. And then finally there's the proofreading where you go into the sort of individual words, look for typos, grammatical errors, things like that. And you look at layout and stuff like that. But I want to talk about editing more than anything here. You very helpfully wrote out your focus points for this text. That was very good for me to be able to look at that at the same time as I read through your text. You do have an introduction, so that's good. It's not really an introduction to the text as a text, but it does give the reader a focus. So it writes really well. What would have been really like cherry on the cake would have been, what am I going to do? This is the focus, and then begin the body text. But it's an improvement, definitely. So you do have more of a reader-orientated approach to this text, and that gives you credibility and authority as a writer because it means that you're in control of the communication. So that's very good. There are a couple of places where I don't think you give the reader enough information. Make sure when you read through in the editing phase that the reader has enough information. Like, for instance, who is Weidenbau? Why is he an authority on this in the first place? You might want to do a footnote on him, or you can introduce him so that we know why the heck do we care what he thinks. Also, comprehensive approach may need to be defined as well. You can do it very shortly by providing a synonym, like comprehensive and holistic might be 2 synonyms that you can, or you can use holistic as a synonym for comprehensive, or you could explain it in broader terms. But we need to be able to understand it so that we don't have questions or we don't look for what is it all the way through the text, because that takes focus away from what you're trying to say. So that's in terms of the editing. Be even more reader orientated. Make sure that there's enough information. The paragraphs, the organization of the paragraphs works well. So in that respect, you are reader orientated in that you have one point per paragraph and then support and elaboration for that. So that's really good. I would, however, like you to revise the last paragraph in part 4, the first part of part 4, if that makes sense. Because that, to me, is a bit murky. I'm not really sure what you're trying to say. So go back and look at it and see if you can make that clearer. You had a couple of grammatical focus points as well that I'd like to look at. You do succeed in staying in one tense. Very good. There's a little bit of subject-verb agreements going on still. And it seems to be very much about if it's they were or he or she it was. Those two you seem to confuse. I don't see it so much in other cases. So maybe just be, in your proofreading, really aware that when you write were or was, go back and find your subject. Dit udsagnsled. Dit grundled. If it's in plural, it's were. If it's singular, it's was. Okay? So I think that should be pretty easy for you in proofreading once you know that that's the place where you often make mistakes. Another kind of local issue is when you use or you quote someone who's written something in Danish. You need to tell me or need to tell the reader if it's your translation or if you were able to find that piece of text already translated into English. And what you do basically after the quote, you just write in brackets, my translation. And that's just kind of an academic thing that you're not really actually supposed to change the quote, but in order to do this, you have to. So you kind of make the reader aware that's what I've done. So minor thing, nonetheless it may be important for you to know that that's how it's done formally. Okay, that's it for me. If you want to ask me anything, you can drop me an email. Otherwise, I'll see you on the last Friday of the course. Okay, bye.